Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. The wonders of Allah are without cessation. He is beyond words and beyond understanding. He is beyond the mind and is beyond our imagination. He's beyond our ability to conceive. He is omnipotent. He is everywhere. He rules over us with compassion and with love. All explanations are within him. All understandings are within him. All knowledge is within him. He is one and alone. He is the prime example of the unity of existence. But as creation occurred, separations occurred. And even though we are all the children of our Creator, and we all come from one mother and father, separations exist all over the world. Different religions arose, different ideas arose, different philosophies arose, different caste systems arose. Everything became separate as opposed to unified. And in these separations, man lost the truth. He lost the reality of understanding the unity within all existence. In order to be able to come to know God, we have to have certain control in our life. We are all here because we have the intention to know God. We have all gathered because we have the desire to know God. We have all gathered because we understand the importance and the overriding importance of knowing our Lord and understanding our Lord. But to truly do this, we have to establish certain controls in our life. We have to control our attachment to illusion. We have to control our attachment to desire. We have to control our attachment to arrogance. We have to be able to give up the I. We have to be able to give up the notion of ourself as a separate entity apart from everything else. We have to understand the unity between ourselves and everything else. And because we have set this intention to know God, because we have set this desire to know God, God will come to us and assist us in this journey because he is compassion, because he is kindness, and because he is love, and because his love is overwhelming for us. As we make an intention to come to know him, he will bring himself closer to us. Allah is complete. He doesn't need any growth. He doesn't need to establish himself. He doesn't need to evolve. He is, and what he is complete. And he is the one who provides. He gives to everything. He gives to our souls and he gives to our bodies. He nourishes all of creation. He nourishes all that he has made. He did not make us and abandon us and abandoned us. He made us and he stays with us. Man is God's secret and God is man's secret. God created all of the lives that we see in creation. He created everything that we see. And in seeing his creation, we see proof of him. We see the subtle artistry that he is. When we see a flower and we smell the fragrance of that flower, we begin to understand the artistry of our Lord. And what is our work in this world? What is it that we are supposed to do? We are here to emulate our Lord. We are here to learn the nature of our Lord, learn the story of our Lord, and tell that story through implementing his gracious qualities in our actions, through implementing his truth in our actions, through implementing his love in our actions, his unity in our actions. Now, no other creation can do what man can do. Man has been given levels of wisdom, levels of consciousness that are higher than the rest of creation. Man has been given the ability to emulate our Lord. He created us in his structure, in his image, capable of carrying his qualities. And as we understand that, then we understand what it is we are to do in this world. Our story is to emulate him. This is the truth of who we are. This is the essence of who we are. This is the reality of what we are to be. If we stray from that, we have strayed from our purpose. We have strayed from our intention. We have strayed from our truth. Man talks about poverty in this world. And when man talks about poverty, he usually is referring to the lack of elemental wealth, the lack of worldly wealth, the lack of monetary wealth. But in truth, poverty in this world is when we lack faith, when we lack certitude, when we lack love, when we lack Allah's qualities. This is what creates poverty. Whether we have worldly wealth or not, we can be at peace. We can be in contentment if we have God's qualities. But if we don't have faith, if we don't have truth, if we don't have an understanding of reality, no matter what amount of wealth we have in material wealth, we will be in poverty. The truth of us is that we blossom, we become who we are supposed to be when we become like unto him, when we become like his actions. And Allah, in his mercy, sent examples of what that is into the world. He sent 124,000 prophets. He sent ketubs. He sent holy ones. He sent light beings into this world in a manifest form, flesh that manifested God's qualities so that we could see what it is like to be a man who emulates God, a man who emulates God's qualities, a man who emulates God's serenity, a man who emulates truth in being, a man who emulates unity. Different religions have different names for these people. Some call them tzaddiks, some call them saints, some call them walis, all names that indicate that somehow this man has transcended his elemental form, has transcended his elemental being, and has entered into another realm. And that realm is the realm of consciousness, the realm of wisdom. Within man, there is the entire spectrum of being, from the lowest animal to the most transcendent of beings in creation. Animals don't have the ability to tell the difference between right and wrong. Animals don't have the ability to understand the nature of their creator. Man has been given that ability to understand the nature of his creator. And it's in understanding that nature that man becomes true man, that man takes on the mantle of the honor that he was given in his creation, that to be the son of the creator, that to be the progeny of the creator, the progeny in the sense that the one who can emulate the creator. Man is God's secret, and God is man's secret. To display the story of God in man is our purpose. And that was the purpose of all the ones he sent as examples to us of that. Muhammad was such an example. Muhammad is a combination of the heart and the face. The name actually means a combination of the heart and the face. And within man, we must have that heart which holds Allah, and that face which exemplifies Allah, that face which exemplifies the truth and beauty of our Creator, that face which exemplifies the unity of our Creator and the compassion and mercy of our Creator. And our heart is the resting place where our Creator resides in each and every one of us. And this is very important to understand. He doesn't just reside in you or you or you or me. He resides in everyone. So there is this unity among all of us. There is this unity that we are all connected through our Lord, who is within each of our hearts. And in this connection is our glory. In this connection is our truth. In this connection is our actual understanding of reality. And unless we have this understanding, then we have not reached the level that man is supposed to reach. During the early years of Hajj, let's say 300 or 400 years ago, 500 years ago, people used to travel to Mecca and Medina by camel. And Arabs would arrange caravans to take people on Hajj. And there would be caravans involving hundreds of camels. And it would take people 6 months to prepare for the journey, to get the money together, to make all their arrangements, to be able to leave, because it would take them 6 months to travel across the desert to get to Mecca and Medina. Now, in the travel across the desert, it was incredibly treacherous because sandstorms could come at any moment and mountains of sand would be moved. And a camel was prepared for this. Before the camel would leave on this journey, he would drink an enormous amount of water. He would fill himself with water. And he has humps, the camel, and these humps contain a certain kind of fat. And when the water mixes with this fat within him, it creates food for him while he is traveling across the desert. And when the storm comes, when the windstorms come across the desert, the camel is able to close his nostrils so the wind can't push the sand into him. And when these storms came, the Arabs who were leading the caravans would cover the camels with coverings, and the men who were riding would hide under these coverings and under the camels and wait for this storm to pass by. The camel was able to withstand it and stand still and wait it out. Man had no choice and was hiding underneath the camel. Eventually, the storms would pass and they would come to an oasis where there was water and there was a place to rest. And they would make fires for the evening. And interestingly enough, there are also ostriches in the desert. And for whatever reason, ostriches are attracted to fire. And when the men would send up, would create these fires in the camps at night, the ostriches would come and they would eat at the fire. They would peck at the fire, but the men would then begin to chase them. Ostriches were considered a great delicacy. The ostriches could run very fast, but when they got tired, they would put their head in the sand. And then the Arabs would come up behind them and either cut their legs or cut their necks and bring them back and cook them. And this was the end of the ostrich. Man is similar to the ostrich. The crossing of the desert is a perilous journey. Likewise, this life is a perilous journey. And as man crosses through this life, eventually he comes to the understanding that death is approaching. And when that happens, man begins to run as if he is being chased, like the ostrich. And he runs to churches, he runs to mosques, he runs to temples, he runs to prayers, he runs to fasting, he runs to all kinds of rituals, and he takes part in all these things. And then he declares himself one who has transcended. But in truth, he's still only hidden in his own mind, and its mind has hallucinated this transcendence. His mind has given him the idea that he has somehow elevated himself through all of these rituals. The truth is, these rituals have only separated him. His religion separates him. His specific prayers separate him. And he ends up hiding within these things, and they become the sand that he puts his head into, believing that this will somehow protect him. But in truth, there is only one protection. The angel of death will continue to chase until you disappear. If you disappear, if the eye is gone and all that is left is the Creator, there is no need for the angel of death. He has nothing to do. He only deals with separation. He doesn't deal with unity. And when unity occurs in man, the work of the angel of death is done. So we have to work on understanding unity. We have to work on understanding I am not, only God is. If we can do this, if we can have that understanding, then we can find truth in this life. If we can find truth in this life, then we can find heaven on earth. And if we can find heaven on earth, then heaven awaits us in the next phase of our existence. But if we can't find heaven on earth, then we have to go through judgment, and we have to go through being judged as to what we did on this earth. We have to do a full accounting of ourselves on this earth. We have to take care of all of our debits. We have to take care of everything so that the books can be closed and the books balance out, and the sum total is zero. We do not exist. If that happens, then the work that we are here to do is done, and our transcendence into the next phase occurs easily and without interruption. Hell is an interruption of transcendence. Hell is when we can't move forward into the next life. Hell is the inability to leave this world and go into the next world. We have to take an accounting of ourselves as to where and who we are. We have to take an accounting of ourselves, of our place in existence. We have to take an accounting of ourselves as to our involvement with Allah's qualities. What are we exemplars of? Are we examples of animals, or are we examples of what man is supposed to be? There are many men who are walking around with the faces of men who are truly animals. Man is capable of all of the subhuman qualities in animals and is capable of portraying those qualities. Man is capable of murder and theft. Man is capable of hypocrisy. Man is capable of betrayal. Man is capable of being two-faced and three-faced. Man is capable of saying one thing and meaning another. We need to develop a conscience that guides us on a straight path towards truth and towards reality. The difficulties arise in that we are often taught that in order to find God, we need to be involved in a religion that's separate from other religions. That religion only has one truth, and all other religions are missing that truth. We have to be able to be expansive and open up our heart to all of humanity, because as we limit humanity from our kindness, our love, and our compassion, so will we be limited when our time for judgment comes. Because as we exclude, so will we be excluded. As we include, so will we be included. Now, this is not the message of most religion. Most religion has become institutional, and the institution has become as important or often more important than the truth. And adherence to the religion, bringing more people into the fold of the religion, keeping that one religion the most important and the most voluminous, has become the work of religion. Where in truth, the work of religion is for man to be able to exemplify the gracious qualities of our Creator. This ability to bring into ourselves that which is truth and to exemplify that truth is our life's work. This is our story. This is who we truly are. Everything else is an enemy to us. Everything else is a falsity that we have conjured up and given the status of reality, when in fact it's not real. And only when we can comprehend the falsity of all of our attachments to the world and all of the things that we think are important within the world, can we begin to do the true work that we were given to do within this lifetime. We need to cross the desert of this world. We need to cross the ocean of illusion. We need to cross all of the false worlds that we have taken on and we have given our allegiance to within this life. There is only one truth, and that is our Lord. There is only one truth, and that is our Creator. There is only one reality, and that is our Creator. There is only one set of qualities that are worthwhile, and those are the qualities of our Creator. And if we cannot give ourselves over to those qualities, if we can't absorb those qualities, then we have wasted our lifetime. Allah put a soul in each of us. That soul, before it was in each of us, resided within God. He nurtured it within him to prepare it to come into being in his creation, to prepare it to come into being as his representative on earth, to prepare it to come into being so that it could know him. Allah created us to know him. Allah wanted a creation that was competent enough that it could know its Creator. We are that creation. And to understand the majesty of that creation and the importance of that creation is something that each of us has to understand. So we have to treat ourselves with a certain sanctity. We have to give ourselves a certain level of understanding and respect. We can't allow ourselves to dip below the level of God's qualities. Who else is going to lift us up but ourselves? Now, Allah is there to aid us, but we also have to take a step towards him. If we take a step towards him, it is said he'll take 10 steps towards us. But we have to make effort. We have to make effort to come into the range of his qualities. Sufism is in essence a school for saints. Sufism is a school for transcendence. Sufism is an understanding that should take you beyond worldly attachment to godly attachment. Sufism is an understanding that should take you out of the realm of separation and put you in the realm of unity. So if in truth you want to find truth, you have to know what truth is. And you can't accept false premises as truth. You can't accept that my religion is better than your religion. You can't accept that I am better than you. You can't accept the fact that somehow you are different and separate. The prophet said unto his daughter Fatima, at the time of judgment, it will not be asked, who was your father? It will be asked, who are you? Who is it that you have become? So we, each of us, has to ask ourselves constantly, who is it that we have become? Who is it that we are? What are the priorities in our life? What are the priorities in our existence? What is it that we are here to accomplish? And what is the work that we are doing here? Are we about our bank account? Are we about our cars? Are we about our fame? Are we about our personal importance? Or are we students trying to learn the truth about our connection to our Creator? The secret between our Creator and ourselves, and uncovering this secret and finding out the truth of this secret, is the reason for our existence. That's why we have been sent here. We've been sent here to come to know our Lord. And some of us have given over our life to this purpose. In the way that the camel, before he takes off on a journey, drinks as much water as he can possibly imbibe, puts his head deep into the well to get more and more water into him. We need to find a source of the wellspring of God's truth. We need to find someone who's been sent by Allah into this world to teach us and train us in the truth. And then when we find that, we have to imbibe as much of that truth as we can. And what has to happen is our sincerity towards that truth has to become real. Our sincerity towards that truth has to become the most important thing in our lives. Our sincerity towards that truth has to overwhelm our being. It has to become the priority in our life. And as that occurs, then we begin to become that which it is that we are supposed to become. And Allah will assist in that. When Muhammad was sitting with his companions, most of his companions were older than him, and he was shy to tell them too much because he was junior to them, and they were shy to ask too many questions of him. So the kalima was never transferred. They were never told that truth. So one day while they were sitting, a very, very old man walked into their gathering. and he was so old he needed a stick to walk, and he had a long white beard, and they made room for him next to the prophet. And the old man said to the prophet, God told me to come to you to ask for the words of truth, to ask for the words of reality, to understand the recitation of the understanding of the connection between man and God. And when this question came up, the prophet then answered it. And he told them, he told the old man, La ilaha illallah, Muhammadur Rasulullah, which means nothing exists but God. I do not exist. And the Muhammad is the one who spread this word. He is the prophet of God to bring this knowledge to man. The companions were all wondering, who is this man that came among them that finally asked the question? And the old man said, I was sent by God. My name is Gabriel. It was actually the angel Gabriel who came in order to bring this out, because man wasn't able to do it on his own because of shyness, because of politeness. So the lesson is that we should never be afraid to ask for knowledge. We should never be afraid to ask for more interpretation of truth. And we should always be looking for that. Allah intends us to know the truth. Allah intends us to understand reality. Allah will help us to find the truth and to find reality. And every step of the way, He will be there to guide us and take us on the straight path. But our intention has to be strong. Our faith has to be strong. Our determination has to be powerful. Our certitude has to be positive. And we must understand that we can and will accomplish this work because Allah and all of the prophets and all of the teachers and all of the ketubs and all of the holy ones intend it for us. So you have all of this incredible energy behind this search. You have all of this incredible energy behind this intention. So follow that intention. It's meant for you. It's meant for each and every one of us. There is no exclusion. Everyone is welcome open-heartedly towards this goal. And Allah has set up creation for man to know Him, for man to enter into Him, and for man to become eternal. So we must take this path. We must take this journey. We must have great faith that this is the truth, and we must make an inquiry all of our life as to what are the qualities of God. We must become a student to learn what are the qualities of God. We must become a student to understand how to put into action the qualities of God. This is what we were meant to do. This is reality. Everything else is besides the point. Everything else is petty. Everything else is a fiction. Everything else is illusion. This is the only reality in existence. And we can choose either to enter reality or enter illusion, to live in reality or live in illusion, to live eternally or to die in illusion. We, each of us, must make this choice. And all of the prophets and all of the holy ones and all of the saints were sent to help us on this path. And we must take that step. We must set that intention. We must make that effort, and God will help us along the way. He is the great helper. He is the great assist. He is the one who brings up his creation to meet him. So let our prayers reflect our intention. Let our prayers reflect our desire to know him. Let our prayers reflect our relationship with him. Let our prayers reflect that we need to be purified so we can bring his actions, his qualities into action in our being. May it be so for each and every one of us. May we all come to know that truth. May we all come to act with his qualities. May we all become examples of his truth. Ameen, ameen, ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh.